Morning is not just the start of a new day, it is the start of a new you. Before the world makes a single demand, before yesterday's fears wake up with you, before the noise of life distracts your heart, there is a moment, a quiet, sacred moment where you decide who you will be today. Most people never notice it. They roll out of bed carrying the same doubts, the same fears, the same invisible weight that has followed them for years. But the people who rise with purpose, the people who rise in strength, are the ones who understand this truth. Your first thought is your first victory, because the words you speak to yourself aren't just words, they are seeds. And every morning, you either plant seeds of power or seeds of defeat. You either speak life into your future or repeat the language of your past. And if you've spent too long waking up with heaviness in your chest, if you've spent years starting your day feeling tired, unworthy, unmotivated, or uncertain, then this moment right now is a chance to break that pattern forever. When your eyes open in the morning, heaven gives you a gift, a reset, a clean slate. You are not required to carry yesterday's failures into today. You are not required to drag the weight of old mistakes into this moment. And you are not required to repeat the story you've been telling yourself, because you have the power to tell a new one. This is why you must choose your first thought with intention, because your mind listens. Your spirit listens. Your future listens. Some mornings you wake up strong. Other mornings you wake up lost. But no matter how you feel, the moment you speak truth to yourself, something shifts. The atmosphere inside you changes. Your thoughts realign. Your heart steadies. Your confidence rises. Not because life is perfect, but because you declared that you are stronger than whatever waits outside your door. Think about the mornings you rushed. The mornings you felt anxious, the mornings you felt like life was happening to you and you had no control. Now imagine if on those mornings you paused and told yourself one powerful sentence. Imagine if you looked at the day, not with fear, but with expectation. Imagine if instead of letting emotions decide your direction, you decided who you were going to be before you even left the room. That is the power of your first thought. It sets your internal temperature. It defines your posture. It determines whether you walk into this world as a victim of circumstances or as someone who understands that God has placed strength inside you that no situation can take away. People look for motivation everywhere. Videos, books, speeches, but the strongest voice you will ever hear is your own. When you tell yourself, I can do this, your brain begins searching for ways to prove it. When you say, I am chosen, I am capable, I am protected, your body responds with strength. When you say, today is mine to rise, something deep within you wakes up. This is the moment where change begins. Not tomorrow. Not when life gets easier. Not when everything finally makes sense. Change begins the moment you take control of your first thought and speak life into your own spirit. Because the day is coming when you will look back and realize the power you were searching for was already inside you. You just needed a morning to awaken it. There is a strength that rises inside you the moment you remember. You are not walking into this day alone. Life feels different when you know that every step you take is being guided, protected, and supported by a power far greater than your doubts. And before the rush of responsibilities pulls you into motion, before the noise of the world drowns out your inner voice, there is one truth that can steady your spirit in a way nothing else can. Today, God is with you. You may not feel strong every morning. You may not wake up inspired or confident or ready. Some days you wake up carrying worries you didn't ask for, responsibilities that feel too heavy, memories that are still healing. But even on those days, especially on those days, you must remind your heart that God has already gone ahead of you. He is already standing in the places you fear. He is already solving problems you haven't even discovered. He is already defending you from battles you cannot see. And when you speak this truth, today God is with me, it doesn't just comfort you, it shifts something inside you. It changes the way you move. You walk differently when you know you're backed by heaven. You face challenges differently when you know you're not fighting them alone. You make decisions differently when you trust that there is divine wisdom guiding you. And you stop apologizing for wanting a life that rises above fear, because God didn't bring you this far to leave you wandering. People spend their whole lives searching for confidence in the wrong places. They search for it in other people's approval. They search for it in achievements, in money, in relationships, in routines. But real confidence, the kind that does not break under pressure, comes from knowing you are not standing in your own strength. It comes from knowing the Creator of the universe wakes you up each morning because He still has a purpose for you. He still sees something in you worth choosing, worth refining, worth blessing. And when you truly believe that, you stop waking up like a defeated person. You stop waking up waiting for something to go wrong. You stop waking up rehearsing worst-case scenarios. Instead, you wake up with a quiet fire in your chest. Because if God is with you today, then nothing you face can overpower the strength He placed in you. This doesn't mean the day will be perfect. It doesn't mean the path will be smooth. It doesn't mean every answer will fall into your hands immediately. But it does mean this: you will not face a single moment without divine help. You will not walk through a single challenge without divine backing. There is no pressure, no struggle, no confrontation, no uncertainty that God has not already prepared you to overcome. So when your mind tries to bring fear into the morning, when anxiety tries to whisper lies, when doubt tries to convince you that you're not ready, speak this truth louder. Today, God is with me. Say it until your heart believes it. Say it until your mind aligns with it. Say it until fear loses its power. Because when you walk into your day with this truth burning inside you, everything changes. The day feels lighter. Decisions feel clearer. Challenges feel smaller. And you feel stronger. Not because life got easier, but because you remembered who is walking beside you. And that awareness alone has the power to turn an ordinary morning into a victorious one. There is a moment every morning when your mind tries to convince you that you're smaller than your purpose. It whispers old doubts, old limits, old fears, as if the version of you from years ago still has the authority to define who you are today. But the truth is this: you have no idea how powerful you are. You have no idea how much potential is still sleeping inside you. Most of the limits you feel are not reality, they're habits. They're echoes of moments where you doubted yourself, believed someone else's opinion, or let fear speak louder than your future. And if you don't confront those thoughts the moment you wake up, they will shape your entire day without your permission. That's why every morning before the world gets a chance to tell you who you are, you must remind yourself of what you're capable of. Not based on your past, not based on your mistakes, not based on the times you failed, or the moments you hesitated, or the opportunities you weren't ready for, but based on the truth that you have grown since then. You have learned since then. You have survived things you once thought would break you. And if you look closely, you'll realize that nothing you've gone through has made you weaker. It has made you wiser, stronger, more aware, more disciplined, more prepared. The problem is, your mind loves to protect you by keeping you small. It thinks safety is more important than growth. It thinks comfort is better than courage. And so it tries to convince you to stay where you are, do what's familiar, and avoid anything that stretches you. But if you always listen to that voice, you will spend your life living beneath your potential. Not because you weren't capable, but because you never challenged the lie that you weren't. When you say, "I am capable of more than I think," you interrupt that lie. You rewrite the script. You remind your brain that you are the one in control, not your fears. And every time you say it, something inside you begins to shift. You start to notice possibilities you ignored before. You start to think bigger. You start to walk with a confidence that doesn't come from the outside world, but from the realization that you're stronger than the thoughts that used to limit you. Think about the moments in your life when you surprised yourself. The times you did something you didn't think you could, the times you pushed through when everything in you wanted to quit, the times you faced situations that once would have terrified you. Those moments were not accidents. They were glimpses of who you truly are. They were evidence that your potential is far greater than your fears. But confidence doesn't grow through comfort. It grows through action. Small steps, small decisions, small victories that prove to your mind that you are not who you used to be, and every morning you tell yourself you're capable. You're building the foundation for those victories. You're teaching your brain to recognize your strength. You're preparing yourself for opportunities that require courage, clarity, and belief. So speak it boldly. Speak it with conviction. Speak it even on days when you feel unworthy or tired or unsure, especially on those days, because the truth does not stop being true just because your emotions fluctuate. You are capable of more than you think, far more, and the moment you start believing that, the world around you will begin to change. Not because the world is different, but because you finally stepped into the power that has been inside you all along. Only then do you realize this: your limits were never walls, they were doors. And now, you're finally ready to walk through them. There comes a point in every person's life where they must decide whether they will continue carrying the weight of who they were, or step into the freedom of who they can become. And morning is the moment that decision happens, whether you realize it or not. Because the past doesn't follow you. You carry it in your thoughts, in your habits, in the stories you repeat to yourself about who you think you are. If you don't confront those stories the moment the day begins, you will spend another day living inside a cage you don't deserve to be in. But hear this clearly: your past is not your prison. It cannot hold you unless you keep unlocking the door for it. Whatever you did, whatever mistakes you made, whatever seasons broke you, whatever failures you still replay in your mind, they are not chains unless you allow them to be. You are not the same person who lived through those moments. You've grown, you've learned, you've changed. And if you look honestly at your journey, you'll see that every painful chapter taught you something important about your strength, your resilience, your purpose, and your worth. The past has a strange way of convincing you that you haven't changed, even when you have. It plays memories like a movie you didn't ask to watch, reminding you of the times you weren't your best, the moments you reacted out of fear, the choices you regret. It wants to keep you tied to an old identity so that you never step into a new one. But the truth is, God never intended for you to live in yesterday. He gives you a new sunrise because He wants you to walk in today. You must remind yourself of this every morning. The past is a place of reference, not residence. It's where you learned, not where you live. And the moment you tell yourself, my past is not my prison, something powerful begins to happen. You break agreements with shame. You silence the voice of guilt. You take away the power of old stories that no longer represent who you are becoming. And for the first time in a long time, you breathe differently. You feel lighter. You feel possible again. Because forgiving yourself is not weakness. It is strength. It is ownership. It is spiritual maturity. And it is the doorway to clarity. The second you stop letting your past define you, your future finally has permission to grow. You stop repeating old patterns. You stop thinking like a wounded version of yourself. You stop expecting disappointment. You stop assuming that what happened before will happen again. You begin to walk into the day with a clean heart, a clear mind, and a renewed sense of identity, because you finally understand that your worth is not measured by what you've done, but by who you are becoming. And becoming requires movement. Becoming requires release. Becoming requires the courage to say, yes, I made mistakes, but I refuse to let those mistakes build walls around my future. So let this morning be the one where you stop being at war with your past. Let this be the moment you forgive yourself for not knowing then what you know now. Let this be the moment you choose healing over guilt, growth over regret, and renewal over self-punishment. You are not trapped. You are not defined by what you've survived. You are not bound to the version of you that once struggled, fell, or failed. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to rise. You are allowed to build a life that looks nothing like the chapters that tried to break you. Your past may have shaped you, but it has no right to imprison you. Not anymore. And not today. There is a quiet strength that enters your life the moment you stop fighting battles that were never meant for you. So much of your stress, your fear, your anxiety comes from trying to control things that are outside your reach. People's opinions, people's actions, outcomes you cannot dictate. Timelines you cannot accelerate. And every morning, if you're not careful, your mind starts drifting into those places before you even get out of bed. It tries to pull you into old patterns of worry, old habits of overthinking, old cycles of trying to manage everything except yourself. But the truth is simple. You cannot control the world. You can only control your response to it. And when you tell yourself, I will focus on what I can control, you reclaim power that you didn't even realize you lost. You stop allowing the unpredictable to shake you. You stop letting fear take the driver's seat. You stop handing your peace to situations that don't deserve that much of you. Because the moment you focus on your thoughts, your discipline, your choices, your effort, your character, the things that truly belong to you, your entire energy changes. You start breaking free from the trap of attempting to manage everything around you, and instead you begin managing the one thing that defines your life, your inner world, the way you think, the way you react, the way you carry yourself, the way you move through adversity. Those are the things that shape your future, not the things beyond your reach, but the things within your control. Every morning is a negotiation between your old habits and your new identity. The old you wants to worry. The old you wants to overthink. The old you wants to analyze every possible outcome until you are mentally exhausted. But the new you, the you that is rising, understands that control is not about holding everything together. Real control is about letting go of everything that is not yours to carry. You cannot control whether people treat you right, but you can control your boundaries. You cannot control whether life challenges you, but you can control how you respond. You cannot control how quickly things unfold, but you can control your consistency, your patience, and your faith. And the moment you embrace this truth, your anxiety begins to lose oxygen. Your heart feels lighter. Your mind feels clearer. Your actions feel intentional. Most people waste so much energy trying to change what they cannot influence that they never invest that energy into what they actually can. But you're different. You are choosing to step into your day with clarity. You are choosing to focus your mind on what builds you, not what breaks you. You are choosing to put your strength into what moves your life forward, your habits, your discipline, your mindset, your character. And the more you practice this, the more powerful you become. You begin to recognize that peace is not the absence of problems, it's the presence of focus. It's the ability to say, this is mine to handle and this is not. It's the wisdom to step back from chaos and step deeper into purpose. It's the discipline to give your best to the areas where your effort actually makes a difference. So as the day begins, remind yourself, you are not responsible for controlling life. You are responsible for controlling what life awakens in you. And when you master that, nothing, not circumstances, not setbacks, not people, not uncertainty, can decide your day for you. Because you finally understand that real power is not about controlling everything, it is about controlling yourself. And that changes everything. Comes a moment every morning when your comfort and your calling collide. A moment when you feel the pull to stay the same, to stay safe, to stay where you've always been. And at the very same time, something inside you whispers that you were made for more. That whisper is your future. That resistance is your excuses. And the decision you make in that moment determines everything. When you say, I choose discipline over excuses, you are declaring war on the version of you that has held you back for years. The version that waits for motivation, that waits for the perfect timing, that waits for life to feel easier. But nothing great is built by waiting. Greatness is built by choosing. Choosing effort over comfort. Choosing growth over fear. Choosing progress over perfection. Choosing discipline, even when every part of you wants to turn away from the challenge. Discipline isn't loud. It doesn't shout. It doesn't demand attention. It shows up quietly, consistently, day after day, shaping your life in ways you don't even see at first. It's waking up when you could sleep in. It's saying no when your feelings beg you to say yes. It's doing the work when your mind tries to negotiate another delay. It's the small, unglamorous choices that build the strongest, unshakable version of you. Excuses feel comforting in the moment because they give you permission to stop. Discipline feels uncomfortable in the moment because it forces you to rise. But only one of them leads to the life you want. Only one of them creates the person you admire. Only one of them will make you look back someday and say, I'm proud of who I became. And discipline is not about being perfect. It's about being willing to try again, willing to stay committed, willing to do the hard things long before the results appear. Because the truth is, your future does not respond to your feelings. It responds to your habits. Your feelings want comfort. Your habits create destiny. Every morning, your mind offers you a way out, a reason not to push, a reason not to try, a reason not to believe in yourself. But excuses don't protect you. They imprison you. They tell you stories that keep you small, stories that limit your potential, stories that convince you that your dreams can wait, as if life guarantees you unlimited chances. Discipline tells a different story. Discipline says you are capable. Discipline says you are responsible for who you become. Discipline says you can rise above your feelings and act on your purpose. And every time you choose discipline, even in the smallest form, you prove to yourself that you are not controlled by your emotions, your laziness, or your fear. You are controlled by your vision. There will never be a day when discipline feels easy, but there will also never be a day when it isn't worth it. Because discipline builds momentum, and momentum builds confidence. Suddenly you start seeing results. Suddenly you start trusting yourself again. Suddenly you start realizing that you are becoming the person you always knew you could be. So as this day begins, choose the path that leads somewhere. Choose the path that builds strength. Choose the path that honors your future. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to begin. And when you begin with discipline, you set in motion a chain of decisions that will transform your life from the inside out. Excuses give you temporary comfort. Discipline gives you permanent change. And today, you choose change. There's a certain peace that enters your heart when you finally understand that delay is not denial, that silence is not abandonment, that unanswered prayers are not forgotten prayers. Every morning, before the weight of the world settles onto your shoulders, you need to remind yourself of one life-changing truth. God is preparing something bigger for you than what you can see right now. And just because it isn't visible doesn't mean it isn't happening. We often judge our progress by what is in front of us, by what we can touch, measure, or control. But God works in a different dimension. In the unseen, the slow, the sacred, the divine, He moves pieces you don't know exist. He opens doors you haven't reached yet. He aligns opportunities that require patience before they appear. And when you wake up and declare, God is preparing something bigger for me, you shift from frustration to faith. You stop forcing things and start trusting them. Some days you wake up with a question heavy in your chest. Why is nothing changing? But the truth is, things are changing. Just not in the part of your life your eyes can see. The preparation of greatness rarely looks like greatness. It looks like waiting. It looks like discipline. It looks like learning lessons you didn't ask for. It looks like walking through seasons that don't make sense until much later. But every season prepares you. Every delay strengthens you. Every not yet protects you. If God showed you everything He's building for you right now, you wouldn't be able to handle the weight of it. You wouldn't understand it. You might even run from it. So He prepares your blessing while preparing you at the same time. He works on your character, your patience, your resilience, your identity. Because the version of you that prayed for the blessing is not the version who will receive it. Growth is required. Transformation is required. Trust is required. And trust is not passive. Trust is active. Trust is getting up every morning and choosing to believe that your story is not stagnant, even when life feels slow. Trust is speaking hope when your circumstances try to silence you. Trust is saying something bigger is coming, even when your situation looks small. Trust is walking into your day as if God has already gone ahead of you, because He has. You have survived things that were supposed to break you. You have endured seasons that looked impossible. You've walked through doors you never thought you were worthy to walk through. All of that was preparation, not punishment, not coincidence. Preparation for something greater, something deeper, something more aligned with who you were always meant to become. And sometimes the reason you haven't received what you're praying for is because God has something better. Not smaller, not equal, better. Something that matches your potential, not your past. Something that fits your future, not your fears. Something you're going to look back on and say, now I understand why the wait was necessary. So when doubt tries to creep in, when impatience tries to take over, when discouragement tries to whisper that nothing is happening, remind yourself of this truth. God is working behind the scenes. He is aligning the right people, the right opportunities, the right timing. He is shaping you into someone who can carry the blessing without collapsing under its weight. This morning, choose expectancy over anxiety. Choose faith over fear. Choose trust over frustration. Because what God is preparing for you is bigger than what you lost, bigger than what you imagined, bigger than what you thought life would look like. And when the time is right, when you are ready, He will reveal it. Until then, rise with confidence. Something bigger is already on its way. There is a moment every morning when you decide what kind of day you will live. Not with your schedule, not with your plans, but with your intention. The quiet, powerful declaration inside you that says, my life is not a series of random moments. I am here for a reason. When you wake up and tell yourself, today, I will walk with purpose, everything inside you begins to align with a deeper calling. You stop drifting. Stop reacting. You stop living on autopilot. Instead, you start moving through the day with clarity, direction, and meaning. Purpose is not some distant destiny waiting for you years down the road. Purpose is how you show up today. It's how you think, how you speak, how you treat people, how you handle the smallest tasks with excellence, because you know that every action shapes your character. When you walk with purpose, you begin to realize that the way you carry yourself matters. Your attitude matters. Your energy matters. Your choices matter. Nothing is wasted. Every moment is building something. Most people live their lives waiting for a big sign to tell them what they're meant to do. But purpose rarely arrives with a spotlight. It shows up in small nudges, quiet convictions, simple responsibilities, and the steady pull of becoming who you were created to be. And every day that you choose to walk with purpose, that purpose grows stronger. It becomes clearer. It begins to shape your future in ways you didn't expect. Walking with purpose means you don't let your emotions dictate your direction. You don't let fear shrink your steps. You don't let doubt slow you down. You understand that your life is bigger than your feelings, bigger than your past, bigger than your temporary struggles. You move with intention because you know that God did not place you here to merely exist. He placed you here to impact, to grow, to transform, to rise. And walking with purpose doesn't mean you have everything figured out. It means you trust that each step matters even if the path isn't clear. It means you give your best with what you have today, believing that what you build now will open the doors you're meant to walk through later. Purpose is not perfection. Purpose is direction. Purpose is consistency. Purpose is choosing progress when it would be easier to choose comfort. When you choose purpose, you stop wasting energy on things that don't move your life forward. You stop chasing the approval of people who don't understand your journey. You stop letting distractions steal your potential. Instead, you invest your time, your focus, and your heart into the things that grow you, your faith, your discipline, your values, your goals, your calling. And something incredible happens when you live this way. The world responds. Opportunities begin to recognize your energy. People begin to notice your growth. Doors begin to open because purpose has a way of attracting purpose. You stop feeling lost. You stop feeling like life is happening to you. You start realizing that you are an active builder of your own destiny. So as you rise today, remind yourself that this day is not an accident. You were chosen to be here. You were given breath for a reason. And no matter how ordinary the day may seem, who you choose to be today will shape who you become tomorrow. Walk with purpose. Speak with purpose. Work with purpose. Love with purpose. Live with purpose. Because when you do, your life stops feeling like a struggle and starts feeling like a calling.